Why is it important that these are self-guided rather than relying on a facilitator?
We thought that perhaps teams might be discussing confidential information or be working through, quite, private tensions or issues of the team. The journey of a team is not always pleasant. Sometimes there are these things. And so having a facilitator who is highly present and super engaged might actually hinder the candor and the freedom for a team to work through things together and to really be themselves. Um, and finally, it was just kind of an interesting design challenge. Like, how far can you design a physical in-person experience that is self-guided as much as possible? And personally, I was very inspired by games. I mean, I think that those are a great example of self-guided experiences, and people can open up a board game and they can read the rules and they can figure it out together. And so if you look at some of the best board games ever invented, Monopoly, whatever, they have a certain way of instructing you and clarifying how gameplay works. What constitutes a turn, and how many people should participate, and what are the roles they play, and hey, this person's the banker, and this person handles the real estate, and these sorts of things. So we looked at those things, and I felt like those were great, board game strategy games. Um, we were inspired by those formats and inspired by the way that game makers help players understand both the rules of the game and the larger strategy or point of playing the game. What does winning look like and those sorts of things, and how they invent those games to drive or inspire certain behaviors or outcomes. Um, so I think that was also another a big inspiration how we design them.
Yeah, and can I just add something on? I first encountered SY Partners probably about 15 years ago when I was working as a chief learning officer in a Japanese bank, and I was meeting regularly with SY Partners because they were working on a large change project in Japan. And when I got to learn about them, what I felt that was very unique about their process and working with clients is that they often had a journalist that was part of a project team. And the journalist role in that project team was to tell the story. And so the storytelling element is present in all of the bento boxes. So beyond the gamification, if you will, of these processes, there is a very coherent storyline that runs throughout each bento box process. So there's a starting point of the story, there's the whole arc of the story, and the players and the characters in the story are actually the people working on the challenge in the room. So I thought that was one of the things that really struck me, first of all, about SY Partners consulting processes that were quite different, and that really drew upon kind of more emotive elements of how people make decisions, of how people interact, about lowering barriers to collaboration and change so that people could really get engaged with a process. And I really feel that that's very much a part of the bento box design.